Now scratch that. I'll go young. I'll go Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo. I'll go Jason Tatum, and I'm missing one more. Book. Then I'll come off the pine with Bron, KD, Joel, Steph. You know what I mean?
Throughout these couple of exhibition games for Team USA and even leading into this whole Olympic team, there's been discussion as to who's going to be within the starting lineup. You just heard Carmelo Anthony's take. Now, this was him going with the young core because he had another lineup that included the LeBron James and Steph Curry, and then he decided, nah, you know what? I'm going to scrap that, and then that's what you heard with this squad. Now, when you have a team like this, I don't think there's any wrong answers as to who you put in the starting lineup, to be honest. You could throw any random five, put all their names in a hat, pick 5 random guys out, and it'll work, in my opinion. Somehow, some way, you can really make it work if you want. Don't get me wrong, though. It may not be the best option if you just pick a bunch of random names. I'm just saying that either way, it'll still be a formidable team. And so when I look at who he picked, it's a good balance of offense and defense. Bam Adebayo was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Tatum is a two-way player. Edwards, two-way. Devin could score great. Also, Tyrese and Bam wouldn't demand the basketball in this kind of lineup. I'm only defending Carmelo Anthony because I don't think this lineup is as crazy as people make it out to be. I don't agree with it. This is not my lineup, and I'll get into it in a bit. However, when I see this starting 5 he put out, it makes sense in terms of basketball logic and just chemistry and putting together a good 5 that could come all as one. But the problem is when you can look at your bench and make an argument that you have a lot more firepower coming off your bench than you do in the starting lineup, then that's a huge issue, and that's where I part ways with Melo.
What's their best lineup? We talk about interior play, and I don't know when we're going to get into this, but if you want to talk about interior play, let's put out a lineup of Joel Embiid at the 5, of Anthony Davis at the 4, Kevin Durant at the 3, Jason Tatum at the 2, and LeBron at the 1. So now you're averaging about 6'10" across the board. That's the lineup when people ask me what I want to see. That's the biggest, most versatile, most athletic defensive lineup that maybe basketball has ever seen.
This starting lineup that RJ suggested, I like this better than the one Melo had when he was going with that whole young core thing. Right off the bat, this lineup defensively is what stands out to me. There's no mismatch. There is no picking on a certain player. Even when Team USA was versing Canada, for example, they were actively looking for Steph Curry. Anyone who Steph Curry was guarding, they gave him the ball. In particular, I saw plays where Dylan Brooks got it, and they would go one-on-one in the post. You can't do that against this kind of starting lineup. All these guys could play on the inside. They could also guard in the perimeter. Only Joel Embiid is the one where you could maybe say, if you get him on a pick and roll and switch out of the three-point line, maybe you can make it hard on him depending on who has the ball. But he's not a huge liability with that, right? So I like this lineup defensively inside and out. They would definitely dominate the glass, whether it be offensive rebounding, second chance points, defensive rebounding, limited teams themselves to low second chance points opportunities, inside scoring, paint scoring. All of that would be advantages for this starting 5. The disadvantages, though, well, this is a very big team. They're not going to go up and down in transition a lot. So I would see a lot of half-court offense. They wouldn't get, those fast break, easy dunks, layups, playing at a high pace. And maybe another team would try to counter them and get them to run up and down, tire them out a bit. So that's one con. Another would be there's not much playmakers in this lineup, if at all, outside of LeBron James. Tatum could handle a little bit, but you don't really have a point guard, right? LeBron would be your unofficial point guard, and I think that may cause issues in the half-court offense as well if things are not going as smooth as you need it to be and you really need somebody to play make outside of just a LeBron. And lastly, three-point shooting may be a concern. Now, all of these guys in the starting lineup could take and make threes, but the only person that stands out to me in terms of someone who attempts a lot and will make a lot as well is Jason Tatum, consistently too, right? Tatum. And, Durant's a great shooter as well, but he gets a lot of his points really in the mid-range. He's not a guy that just tucks up three-pointers when you really watch him. Again, that one isn't the biggest concern, but that's something else that I would look out for if they put out a lineup like this. Let's look at their past 2 games now, as they had different starting 5s for each one. Against Canada, they put out Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, all guards really, with LeBron James and Joel Embiid. Against the Australia team, they had Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. Now, obviously, because Steve Kerr is the coach of this team, I'm going to assume Steph Curry is going to be in the starting lineup either way. And they also had LeBron James and Joel Embiid 2 consecutive games in a row with Steph Curry, Joel Embiid at the center position, LeBron at the 4. Personally, I'm leaving Steph Curry right where he is. You have the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history playing in the Olympics, where with the international rules, the three-point line is even shorter than the NBA just by a bit. It only makes sense that you let him exploit that fact to the fullest of his ability, point blank, period. Joel Embiid at center, I agree with that as well. It's between him and Nikola Jokic for who's the best at that position in the NBA. Some go with Joel, some go with Nikola. To me, that's another no-brainer as well. Pencil him in. This is where it gets very interesting, and depending on basketball-wise what you like, philosophically what you believe in, this will vary. However, I'm going to give you what I believe. I would put LeBron at 4. All right, I'll leave him there. I would put Anthony Edwards at the shooting guard position, Tatum at small forward. The reason why for this lineup, let me break it down very quickly. Tatum and Steph, they give you your three-point shooting and your space. Steph Curry and LeBron, your playmakers, right, your ball handlers. Anthony Edwards and Tatum would be your anchors defensively on the perimeter. And then you got Joel Embiid at the back to clean things up if they get beat, or anyone for that matter. As usual, though, let me know how y'all feel. What do you think about Carmelo Anthony's lineup? Do you believe, nah, that's just crazy, period? What do you like about RJ's lineup that he suggested? Do you agree with what I was saying, the breakdown? Or do you love what he suggested and how he explained it? And what do you think about what I said with my lineup that I gave? The pros about it, the cons, did I leave anything out? I would love for y'all to tell me. Hit the comment section up, subscribe, like, and as always, peace. Salute for listening.